Sumo wrestling is a hierarchy or axis mundi for the Japanese people, rich in religious history and culture. It is Japan's national sport originating from the Shinto religion in the 3rd century, based on prayers for bountiful harvests and purifying the individual of good and evil spirits, and many of the traditions are still being performed today. All Shinto religious symbols, myths, and ceremonies have an inner psychological meaning related to awakening the higher self in man. Sumo wrestling is performed in a sacred place called the doyo, within a Shinto shrine, which isn't just a ring but a manifestation of the sacred. The doyo is a square ring with a circular elevated clay center, topped with sand and bordered with rice straw. The ring has a roof above to represent a Shinto shrine and has 4 tassels in different colors to represent the 4 seasons. The doyo is a reminder to the wrestlers to become awakened because even though they go through their daily routines, man tends to be asleep and needs to be reminded of their higher self. Sumo wrestlers carry on many traditions from the beginning of the sport 2,000 years ago. They wear their hair in a top-knot bun on top of their heads, colorful robes, and wear a large belt called a mawashi tied in a circle to honor Shinto gods. The wrestlers live in stables grouped together and train and eat in traditions that dictate their lives. Through a gift exchange between God and their bodies, they consume a 20,000 calorie diet for brunch of a stew called Chenko Nabe. Chenko Nabe consists of seaweed stock, several types of meat, shellfish, tofu, bean sprouts, cabbage, onions, and other assorted vegetables. The stew is also eaten with 10 bowls of rice and many beers to wash it all down. The hope is to eat and sleep in order to gain as much weight as possible, to shape their bodies and add strength to honor the Shinto gods. Sumo wrestlers are gifted athletes who train very hard and go through rigorous traditions striving to be the best in the world. Sumo wrestlers perform many ceremonial exchanges before and during the matches to drive out spirits and become awakened. Before the match, the wrestlers drink strength water, then enter the ring wearing colorful robes and clap their hands to gain attention of the Shinto gods. They throw salt across the ring in an act of purification. Women are not allowed to enter the doyo because they are considered impure by the wrestlers. There are also other rituals performed such as raising one leg and stomping down to the ground several times to frighten the enemy and mimic ancient warriors, and clapping hands together to signify the beginning and end of prayer. The referees, known as Gyoji, are also religious and symbolic in nature. The Gyoji carry swords and take their jobs very seriously in honor of Shinto gods. If they make a bad decision regarding the match, they are supposed to commit suicide by disembowelment. Sumo wrestling rules are very simple and matches usually last only a few seconds or minutes. There are no weight restrictions, and the biggest wrestler is not always the winner. Winning is achieved by the first wrestler who forces their opponent to touch the ground with any part of his body besides the sole of his feet. Sumo wrestling has a governing body called the Japan Sumo Association, which hosts 6 tournaments each year. Winning wrestlers move up in ranking and losers move down in ranking, with a top division called Mukuchi. A grand champion, Yokozuna, can never move down once achieving the highest ranking and can only retire when their ability deteriorates. A Yokozuna is a Japanese national hero and engages in a gift economy by earning a nice salary, raising money for temples and shrines, and allowing the sport to flourish through his notoriety.